Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Inferno Gaming's Halloween streams. We're going to take a break from what's going on in LA for the evening and see what's going on with the walking corpses of New York with Vampire the Masquerade: Coteries of New York. It's a visual novel set with it's using Vampire 5th Edition's rule set and its metaplot updates, and we'll be commenting on that as we go along. Just some housekeeping before we get started. If you look below the video here, there's a link to our Patreon. There's exclusive content and more on the way. The first write-up for the new Birmingham werewolf setting should be up sometime tomorrow evening. There's a link to our Discord server, and there is a tip jar that leads to our PayPal. Anything you can, if you want to tip your DM, it's not required, but highly, highly appreciated. I don't like to shill for cash because I do this for fun, and I like hanging out with y'all, but we did just have to, due to a confluence of paperwork that is too stupid to get into right now, end up having to make a double mortgage payment this month. So things are a little tight. So anything you'd like to kick in, again, not required, but highly appreciated. And hang on one second. Completely forgot to add my alert box to this overlay. I am annoyed with myself. There we go. Alright, we're back. Alright, let's get started, folks. I did see someone comment in a group chat earlier that it seems like White Wolf's gone the Warhammer 40k route of... Oh, hey, Blith, thanks so much. Has gone the Warhammer 40k route with just licensing out the IP to anyone. And thankfully, it's gone relatively well so far. They've, really with the exception of Earthblood and whatever the hell is going on with Bloodlines 2, we thankfully have at least gotten good games out of it. Yeah, it's mostly visual novels and that sort of thing, but there's been some good shit in there. Werewolf, the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest, in particular, is fantastic, and we will be getting back to that sometime. Alright, we got 3 clans to choose from. Bruja, the rebel against power and rage against authority. Seemingly insignificant man with significant ideas will join your ranks tonight. The Ventru, the aristocratic blue bloods embody wealth, sovereignty, and control. A top-level corporate executive will join their ranks tonight. Or the Toreador, the divas seek thrills of art, romance, and cruelty amidst stagnant undeath. A tormented artist will join their ranks tonight. Yeah, we're going to go with the Toreador. I think that they really don't get enough credit for being actually interesting. Yeah, we'll go with the default name. I like Lamar as a name. That, and if you know what you're doing on tabletop, Toreador can be a hideously broken character with its basic disciplines. I know back in 1st edition, Werador was basically a thing. You could if you knew what you were doing, you could spec out a Toreador to be able to do as much damage as a fucking werewolf. Okay. New York taught me to believe in fate. Had you asked me about fate back when I was a human, I would have told you superstitious bullshit. That we are all designers of our own destinies. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. Happened in the very same place you're standing right now, by the way. Fate? You decide. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little longer. See, my mistake was I flew too close to the sun. Makes sense that my punishment was to never see its glow again. I was incandescent myself. I was hot shit. I had it all. Money, looks, confidence, connections, men, women, a career, and a spark in my eye. The one you need to be born with. And that's when someone, far more powerful than me, saw my radiance and thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within and gave me a subtle, enduring gleam in its place. She decided that would fit me much better. She was a ninth generation kindred just like you, an apex predator. She probably enjoyed teaching me the peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. It's such an eyesore when you look at some loudmouth braggarts and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? Stares and Nosferatu. Well, my sire's lesson was about fate, a message saying you're eternally doomed to be at the mercy of your sovereigns. Almost drove me to destroy myself. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists, and one can shape it if given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me, just her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I am here, standing right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I learned about your arrival to JFK. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day some of my associates were inspecting the coffins. Driving you here straight from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. But it's so rare for you to visit New York. 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? You're never eager to inform me that you're here. I understand you still have a meeting on 53rd Street later tonight, so I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much, don't get me wrong. But it's precisely because I value it that I'm going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I trust to do the job well, and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it's impossible to get away with it unpunished. But this is New York, and I don't know about other cities, but in this one, fate really exists. Right now, it's smiling in our favor. This is how it begins. You stifle a yawn. It's been a slow evening. A little bit of red liquid left in your glass and the crumbs on your plate remind you that, if nothing else, these art exhibitions at least come with decent wine and legit catering. And yeah, it's fun to talk about your work on display, even if you end up discussing it with pretty much the same people at each such occasion. You've already met that one critic who keeps telling you with self-assured authority how you should pursue a different artistic avenue. Then there's the obligatory doe-eyed art student who's so impressed with your technique. To be fair, you're not all that happy with your latest piece, but hey, it's not the worst thing you've seen tonight. That ignoble, dubious honor belongs to one of the other paintings on display. And yet, its author, currently being paraded around by his rich parents, has barely been able to grab a bite of the fancy canapé. So many sycophants to meet, so little time. For a moment, you think maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you should take the critic's advice, cut your losses, and sell out to some corporation and get it over with. And as if the universe wanted to validate that train of thought, that's the exact moment your sister Emma decides to pop into your view. So, let me get this straight. Cushy corporate jobs are selling out, but supporting a billionaire's vanity project is totally fine with you? I am. You absolutely despise her as an artist. While you're struggling to uphold some nebulous ideas of what art is meant to be, she's perfecting her ways of mooching off the system. Shamelessly preying on little-known street art and niche internet memes, she repackages them as bougie-friendly collages. So it's perhaps no wonder that the New York Times has recently dubbed her a mind-blowing explorer of digital art's extreme possibilities. And in spite of it all, you absolutely love her as a person, even as you welcome her by smacking the back of her head. The gesture meant to convey nothing but deep affection. No, but seriously, supporting young artists, my ass. I don't know what kind of money you got for this piece, but I doubt it was worth even a fraction what's going to be worth in tax benefits. The gallery owner actually said that if he had to choose his most valuable audience, it would be the IRS. And I'm pretty sure he was only half kidding. Fun fact, kids, a lot of modern art is money laundering. You mumble a non-answer and then set into a different subject, trying to preemptively quell her repeated offers to get you a steady job. Of course, she's proves as insistent as ever. You know, sometimes I just don't get you. On one hand, you wouldn't be caught dead taking money from the inevitable winner of the culture wars. On the other, if someone gave you the chance to collaborate on some dumbass Oscar bait flick sponsored by Larry Ellison's bailout fund, you do that shit for free. She rolls her eyes and asks, "You know what the only difference is between the art scene and the culture industry? The culture industry actually pays your bills." As expected of someone who's given up on attempts to infuse her work with any sort of enduring quality and decided to just keep responding to the zeitgeist. She claims to happily accept the fact that after she dies, both she and her work will end up in the landfill. Jesus, that's bleak. When you respond that you prefer chasing a 1 in a million chance to immortalize yourself, she claims it reeks of an overinflated ego. Well, artist. But you've been down this road too many times before and managed to accept she'll never understand what's truly important to you. Slowly but surely, you move on to more agreeable topics. Your plans to finally get hammered together, or the most recent crop of garbage Netflix shows your friends have tricked you into trying out. Well, that's a fucking mood. Alright, gotta go. I've got a date. She peeks at a bunch of middle-aged men in expensive suits who have stopped pretending to care about the exhibition and are exchanging the worst lecherous jokes they've got in their stale repertoire. Have fun with your friends, class traitor. She gives you a hug and heads for the nearby elevator. There goes the pleasant part of the evening. So you decide to delay the inevitable and catch a quick smoke break. Truth be told, people aren't exactly lining up to chat about your work anyway. As you leave your post, you start tapping your pockets in search of a lighter. Instead, you find a $100 bill you're absolutely sure wasn't there before. Jesus Christ, Em, you're the worst and the best. You can feel your cheeks turn red, but you gratefully put the money in your wallet and move outside. When you reach the balcony, you look out at New York City and light the second last cigarette left in the pack. You're alone. It's not silent. The metropolitan hum is ever present, but even this high up. But it's a good deal more intimate than what's behind your back. You lean over the railing and look down. The streetlight beckons more than usual. In your mind's eye, you see yourself as your final artwork beautifully splattered all over the pavement. Working Okay, are we back? Okay, I think we're back. Your eyes are drawn to a handsome young man, neatly dressed and groomed, exuding the air of a true artiste. And the best part? He's intently looking at your painting. The gallery is almost like an installation itself now. People standing in silent awe, the guy like a beacon drawing everyone's attention. Hushed conversations about the guest can be heard from the corner of the gallery, every corner of the gallery. Your heart is pounding with excitement, and you approach feeling like a kid about to get close to a deer in the woods, but afraid you'll scare it away. The man turns to you, and you stop in your tracks, entranced. So this is one of your pieces? Oh, good. He's the kind of pretentious dude that just walks around with a pipe in his mouth. You manage to mumble an affirmation. Tell me about it, please. As you start discussing your inspiration, technique, and process, the man's eyes lock onto the painting again. He keeps interjecting, making knowing remarks. This guy gets it. He really gets it. The world around you disappears. You'll say anything, do anything to keep his attention on you. But you realize you don't need you. He's into your He's into your art. He's into you. I want to buy it, and I want your company. I need to talk to you. You'll like what I have to say. Spoken matter-of-factly, served straight up, like he knows that you won't refuse, that you can't refuse. An hour later, you find yourself at his apartment. What a Benny, you presume, with your self-esteem all but patched up and your head full of fine vintage. And wow, how many people do you have to murder a month to afford a place like this in Manhattan? You tell your hosts a lot. In fact, it seems like you're telling him everything. Where you came from, how you ended up in New York, how you had to take out a loan to appear at tonight's event, how you took the long look down the balcony. You talk about taking the plunge, and this time you were only half joking. You feel miserable. You start crying. He holds you in his arms. You feel calmer. The tears stop flowing. It's been so long since you last had someone you could not just talk to, but communicate with, be seen by. Who knows? Maybe there's hope for you yet. That feeling of bliss is the last thing you remember before passing out. Next thing you know, you're lying on the couch in that same apartment, hungry and dehydrated. How long has it been? Hours? Days? More? Feeling weak, confused, abandoned. You look around in a panic. Is he still here? Thank God, yes, there he is, standing in the doorway. His voice breaks the silence and fills you with hope until you realize what he's saying. I am so sorry. I hope that maybe one night you'll forgive me. Always remember that in our parting moment I wished you well. You try to speak, ask him to stay, but no voice leaves your parched throat. You taste something on your lips. Wiping your mouth leaves a crimson stain on your hand. It's not the wine. What the fuck? The door of the apartment closes behind him. Alone. Again. Then the pain hits. The headache, a lurching in your stomach, a burning in your arms and legs. It's all you can focus on. A panic takes you. You fall from the sofa and hit a wine glass. It flies off into a wall, shattering to bits. A mumble from the corner of the room indicates you're not as alone as you thought. From where you're lying, you only see a feminine shape stirring awake. You crawl towards the woman, inch by inch. The pain turns into an urge. You need to get close to her. You begin to see details. The long hair shrouding her face, the worn-out NYC hoodie thrown over her skimpy dress. She opens her eyes, moves her locks to the side, exposes her neck. A rabid instinct takes you. In the blink of an eye, you find yourself buried in her hair, smelling her sweat, mixed with just a hint of cheap perfume. You bite down and drink the blood from her vein. Wait. What is happening? You break away. You look at the girl. She lets out a sigh, goes limp and unconscious again. You try to crawl back. Her dress rolled up onto the side. You glance at her naked thigh. You lose control again. Bite her leg. Drink deep from the artery. It's intoxicating. It's bliss like you've never known before. It's beautiful. You break away again. Fall to your back. What the hell was that? Did you really drink her blood? She's not moving. Oh God, she's not moving. You check her pulse. She's cold to the touch. Nothing. No heartbeat. No signs of breathing. That's when it hits you. Your chest isn't moving either. Your heart's not beating. You're cold to the touch. You reach for your phone. It's not there. Where did you leave it? Or maybe he took it? Impossible to say. You stumble around the apartment. Find nothing you can use to call for help. You need to get out of here. Now. You look outside the window. You're high above the streets. There's no balcony, and the building exterior is glass almost all the way down. You'd never survive the jump. Maybe that's precisely why you should leave the room this way. You just killed somebody. Your life's essentially over. A sickening void is opening in your stomach, warning you that reality is about to turn to unbearable hell. A voice in the back of your head tells you the smartest course of action is to take the leap before it does. And the more you argue it, the more reasonable it sounds. You're about ready to pick up one of the chairs, try to break the window, when you hear the clicking of keys in the lock. You freeze in place. This is bad. Your thoughts start racing desperately, but instead of rational course of action, only visions of false hope come to your mind. What if it's him? What if he's had a change of heart? What if he sent someone for me? You almost feel your heart beat again as excitement as the door opens. Almost, but not quite. A man enters, but not the one you expected. He's tall, broad-shouldered, handsome, with a darkish skin. His suit's stylish and immaculate. You've never seen him before in your life, but you immediately see past his sharp looks to see his sharper nature. He's a predator. If you're not careful, you might become his prey. Good evening. I'm here to pick you up. Deep, emotionless voice. He turns his eyes to the lifeless body of the girl in the NYC hoodie and raises an eyebrow. This isn't what it looks like. Please, you have to help me. That's what I'm here for, after a fashion. He approaches the bed to examine the corpse from up close. Well, this is unfortunate, but preferable to going insane from hunger. Quite a nice gesture, actually, if troublesome. He briefly looks at you with something like pity in his eyes and changes his expression to a perfectly blank one. Listen, you may perceive your current situation as something out of the ordinary, but I've met hundreds of lost sheep like you. And you see, they tend to fall into two categories. First, there were the smart ones. Those who carefully obeyed my every word and didn't pull off any stupid stunts. They always got where they needed to go, safe and sound. Then there were the dumb ones. The punks who thought that they could take me on. The wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly and without permission. The troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, a lot of them never reached their destination at all. The man talks in a bored, professional tone, giving off an impression that he really had delivered the speech countless times by now. So you see, being a smart person, I'm a Mets fan. I love baseball. And it inspired me to come up with a 3-strike system to determine if someone is dumb. If you get on my nerves 1 or 2 times, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful circumstances. But if you do it 3 times, understand that there will be no excuse, no forgiveness, no mercy. His presence changes ever so slightly. Say, I understand, sir. Now. You feel an overwhelming, barely irresistible urge to fulfill his demand. Yeah, I'm not pissing this guy off. I don't know what the fuck's up. I ain't pissing him off. I understand, sir. Excellent. Alright. Have you got anyone you'd like to inform about your current situation? Tell them that you're alright? He flashes his fangs briefly as he talks, and for some reason, this sight causes a chill to run down your spine. Something's wrong with him. Someone closest to you. Yeah, we're gonna lie. His name is Eduardo. He's my boyfriend. He lives in Queens. He's a barista, and the stranger's been watching you with wary eyes since the moment you started talking, but only interrupts you at the moment of visible hesitation. You're 100 years too young to try and fool me, whelp. Even your lies, tells have tells. First strike. Try again. Your first instinct is to protest, but you realize your thoughts are too panicked to come up with anything coherent. You have all the planned attention to provide poor Eduardo with a convincing psychological depth. Emma, my sister. She's probably having a night out in Brooklyn with her artiste friends. Can I call her now? You take out your phone while asking the question. It was in your pocket all along. Must have been panic talking before. He shakes his head and points at the hooded corpse next to him. If you want to implicate her, go ahead. I think we'd all be better off if you let me make sure that she knows only what she needs to know. Yeah, agreed. Give me a phone number. I'll have someone get in touch with her. You oblige and hand him the smartphone so he can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this night onwards, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up with. And you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anybody know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes to search for you, it's over, both for you and them. He interrupts his monotone recitation to stare deep into your eyes. So if you don't want someone to find your poor sister's body in the Hudson River next week, cooperate. The sight of his fangs again, another physical fight-or-flight response. He played right into his hands, placing Em in danger. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. By now, you're absolutely sure he's just toying with you by provoking you just to feed on your reactions. He hasn't told you where you're going yet, but he's already made it abundantly clear that a lot of people have struggled hard to avoid getting there. Be far more eager to cooperate if he never raised the subject, but he made it a point to make you fear the unknown. He's pushing you. To what end? Does he want to intimidate you into complete submission? Is he hoping you'll give him an excuse to get rid of you? Or maybe he's testing you, forcing you to show what you're made of. Somehow he makes all these opinion options seem plausible at once. Alright, I think that's enough lectures for today. He takes a glance at his silver watch. It's a Petit Philippe, the kind of brand mere mortals never seen outside of luxury lifestyle magazines. Just who are you dealing with here? It's past 3 a.m. now. The sun will come up in just a few hours, so we don't have much time. Come. We need to leave so the corpse can be taken care of. He turns his back on you to unlock the door. Yeah, I'm gonna go with him. Okay. You obediently follow him out of the room. Before he locks it again, you manage to take a final glimpse of the corpse. You feel a pang of conscience, but not because your victim's horrible fate. It's because you don't feel guilty, even though you know you should. Something important inside of you that's still there yesterday has definitely died tonight. You wonder if you'd even recognize yourself in the mirror. Stranger shows you the elevator. You go to the ground floor. During an awkward ride, your dazed, confused mind desperately searches for a glimmer of hope. And gradually comes across one. Maybe you'll find the man you met earlier this night. Who was that man? Do you know who was the man who brought me here? That's what I'd like to know. I said, yes, he's unidentified. They've left no trace, and it's obvious they were not planning to come back for you. If, and that's a big if, you ever see them again, it will be tomorrow. And probably for the last time. For the last time? What do you mean for the last time? His face is inscrutable. I said what I said. All I can add for now is tomorrow is a big night for you. The elevator door opens to an empty hall. You walk outside past the night guard's post, which is empty. The cold night air reminds you of the balcony just a few hours ago. The man motions to a black Cadillac Escalade. Take a seat in the back, please. You get inside. The man closes the car door behind you. You hear a click as it locks. The Cadillac's almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets into the driver's seat and starts the engine, drives away without comment. Okay, so we're being fucking kidnapped. Am I drugged? Was I drugged? Am I tripping? I don't think so. But then again, who knows what that girl had in her bloodstream. He stops mid-sentence and shakes his head. Forgive me, I'm not in a talkative mood. This won't be a long drive. Patience. Dead silence fills the car. And you close your eyelids and sink back into your thoughts. A blurry afterimage of the man who bought your painting is still there. It's strange. You never felt this way about anybody. Makes you happy, even though you have the nagging thought that there's something fundamentally abusive about this attraction. But then the girl's hair spilled over the cold floor, spilled over the purple hoodie. Her blood spilled over the cold floor, coming to sharp focus. You wince. You want to cry, but as if there are no more tears left in you. After what feels like an eternity, the car comes to a stop. You get out of an underground parking lot. It's an ugly, concrete, gray thing. Empty, but for the car you came in. It looks like there's a room beyond the metal door in the wall. Guess you'll live to see another night. Follow me. He opens the metal door and lets you inside. Here we are. These are your lodgings for tonight. If you get hungry, again, take a look in the fridge. Tomorrow I will come to pick you up. The cramped room has no windows, just a simple bed, a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling, a small humming fridge, and a rattling AC fan in the wall. All the coziness of a solitary prison cell. He has claw marks on the inner side of the entrance door. I need medical help. I can't feel myself breathing. I can't sense my heartbeat. I need to go to the hospital, to a hospital, man. You're gonna be fine. Listen, normally I'd lose my nerve by now and things would get nasty. But I get it. You're scared. You don't understand what's happened. Trust me. You will learn more tomorrow, but now I need you to rest. And you need you to rest. Gestures inside the room. Finding no more willpower to resist, you step inside. The stranger nods contentedly. Good night. He locks the door behind you. It looks very secure and sturdy. You open the fridge. There's a single plastic bag there, filled with red liquid, unlabeled, tomato soup. Feels sick to your stomach. Let's leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame, kind of grimy and damp. Seeing it makes you grimace, but you're just too tired not to lay down. Your entire body hurts, a dull feeling that makes you feel heavy. You feel vulnerable and lonely. Usually when that happened, you turn your attention to painting, just to not think about the alternative. Your family upbringing left you with no skills but artistic talent. Creating art used to be something of an unpleasant duty. Somewhere along the line, though, it became the only weapon you had to fight with existential despair. Some of your best work was created in lieu of impotently crying in bed. Hell, you're pretty sure a few of those pieces had your tears mixed in with the paint, like this painting that led your whole night to this. Look back at your life, and it starts looking like a downward spiral. You're so tired. Your entire body tenses up, and before you know it, you drift away into oblivion. You wake up. Yeah, Blith, they did a great job of reflecting the presence, discipline, and the first step of the blood bond. We're going to take a real quick break here, folks. I'm just going to step aside, refresh my drink, and get a cigarette. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. And we're back, and I just noticed that I had the desktop audio muted, so you can hear the really excellent ambient sound and music this game's got going. Anyway, you wake up. That in itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. Didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels like. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on. The AC is still rattling. The refrigerator is still humming. Take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You've slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone. You feel enough dumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? Not sure about that, but you're certain about one thing. You're hungry. It's not your stomach rumbling, though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and the back of the head. You open the fridge. The bag's still there. Take a closer look at it. If it is soup, then its color and texture are off. You pull the cork out and take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. It smells faint, and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating. Now it's almost... No, not almost. It is enticing. Fuck it, we're gonna eat. It feels wrong, but right now there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of the liquid in your mouth. Tastes bland. Reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register as what it claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. Take a few more sips. And then just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. Eventually you find that you've emptied it entirely. All. Look at the info press on the side of the bag. 450 milliliters of it. Blitz, actually the music that plays on the opening screen, the intermission screen, and my ending stream is composed by my younger brother. So that's its own thing. And he is actually composing music specifically for the werewolf campaign. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. You realize your body longs for that intoxicating high you felt when. An image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? You try to piece your thoughts together, make sense of it all. We hear the lock click and see the door open. Standing there is the well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Hey, Foss, thanks for the sub. That predatory look, like a immaculate suit again. That predatory look, like a hawk on a hunt. Somehow more relaxed tonight, so like a tamed hawk, maybe? Good evening. Slept well? He notices the discarded, emptied bag. I see you had a bit of a snack. Was that really blood? Was that really type Rho negative? Not that easy to get. Glad you liked it. Come on. We've got places to be. The car is humming in an empty parking lot just outside the cramped room you spent the day in. The man motions to it, politely, but with a stern look on his face. I'm not fucking with this guy, so we're just gonna continue going on with what he's offering until a better plan comes along. Because I'm pretty sure this guy can murder us before we know what's happening. Okay, lead the way. After you. You take the back seat again. The door is locked. The stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch glimpses of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but literally... The car is also soundproof, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic humming and the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything and seems focused on the road. Check the door handle. Yep, door's locked all right. Piece of dark glass separating you and the front of the car looks sturdy too. Nothing left to do but wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realize you're hungry? No, not exactly. It's not a rumbling stomach that grabbed your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You try to extract some information out of the man behind the wheel, but you realize you prefer to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected it, but you spent a lot of the trip lost in your thoughts. A lot of them concern blood. It takes another 20 minutes or so to get to your destination. As the door opens, you try getting your bearings. You're still in New York, that much certain. Queens, maybe. Yo, how in the fuck is he getting from Manhattan to Queens in 20 minutes? That is not a thing that happens in the world. Not in a fucking car, anyway. Wait, you know exactly where you are. This nice-looking two-story building has a logo you immediately recognize. The Art Hole, an avant-garde gallery. Used to hold that collection of bagged viscera and body parts by... Can't quite remember the guy's name. He's Brazilian, you think. Fabio something or other? After me. No sudden movements, please. You've never been inside. Not quite your style. But the place has quite the cult following. You keep racking your brain for more facts, hoping they'll help with whatever you got into. Two large men in suits flank the door on the gallery at both sides. They give your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger who guides you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour to say the least. About 24 faces fill the showroom, and a number of waiters navigate the gathering, serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guest's attention. Visitors are well dressed for the most part. It's unclear what they've gathered here for. Nobody seems particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite. Unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. See open contempt on a few faces and animated interest in others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. Memories come back to you like a bad case of PTSD. How many times before has someone judged you impassively or decisively through your art? You share a piece of yourself with the world, and it'd respond by making you feel like garbage. It always took a lot of effort not to lose your cool and tell them all to shove their opinions up their collective asses. Now, looking around, it feels like you've become another artwork commodity to be judged by a bunch of obscenely wealthy, out-of-touch assholes. Makes you want to scream. Good evening, Kadir. And to you, child. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back in the situation at hand. The gallery. A crowd of strangers, you being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, Miss. You are addressing the Prince of New York City, Helene Panard, child of Michala. Thank you, Sheriff. I am capable of introducing myself. She's somewhat plain-looking and doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm, but still the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people. That much is clear. You may address me as Prince, child. I realize your introduction to Unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society dictate I punish you both for this transgression. A murmur of agreement, maybe, can be heard from the gathered audience. But I am willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first. My sire? You mean the man I met at the gallery? That's one of the things we're here to ascertain. You're about to be judged by the court of New York City. Kadir, please tell us how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Prince? Isn't my secret society make-believe? A trusted informant, who has chosen to remain anonymous at this time, tipped me off about a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. Interestingly, his sire made use of an older haven, one of the clan of the Rose, for the embrace. They were even thoughtful enough to leave a local woman for the fledgling to slake his thirst on. Despite some reservations, he offered little resistance last night and cooperated on our way to the safe house. I was pleased not to have to force his compliance. We had a quick chat, but wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me, which he did without struggle. A pleasant departure from my usual routine, I must say. His thirst partially slaked with the back blood we kept in the safe house, we had a pleasant enough drive here. So he ends with us arriving at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. You take a special interest in one of the faces. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. Is here whispering to some bespectacled man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Kadir. I take note of this fledgling's behavior and will take it into consideration later. She turns her attention to you. First, there's the matter of your sire. The person who brought you where Kadir picked you up from last night. Who were they? He was beautiful, charismatic, charming, dark hair, a sort of artistic mess. He had an accent I couldn't recognize. He took notice of my art, bought a piece, in fact. I wanted to meet him again. The last sentence came out almost involuntarily. You immediately feel ashamed, sounding like a sad puppy whimpering after their master. Yes, you do want to meet that man again. It's an urge deeper than you've ever felt. Maybe even love? No, that's idiotic. He never even introduced himself to you. He used you. That asshole just plain used you. For what? Well, Kadir, does that sound familiar? No, it does not, or at least not familiar enough. I will continue the search after we're done here. He bought my painting. You can track him. That guy, he bought my painting at the gallery. Didn't pay in cash, I think. Maybe you can track him that way? Oh. Did your lookout on him make a change? Did your outlook on him change all of a sudden? He smirked, seemingly enjoying your misery. Personal jabs aside, thank you for that observation. I will investigate this later. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What's your recommendation, my sheriff? The traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my duty. Stay your hand for a moment longer, Kadir. I wish to consult my council on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seemed strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask this Kadir what all that talk of traditions and councils was when the red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sophie? Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Kadir. We all know what the verdict is going to be. Let me speak to them. You might not have to stay in your hands tonight after all. Her words grab his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions struggling for domination. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, and resolve. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room the way you came, and you're left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside, and the eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you're in quite the pickle. Wait, did I hear that right? What did he say about a sword? Your hearing isn't faulty. We only have a short while before the prince hears our counsel out, and Kadir returns here with his blade, so listen, please. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I'm well aware how ridiculous that sounds. It's the reason why we have these nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire. The fact remains. The beings called vampires, you're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale. Really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. No, not wine. That's not the right thickness. Not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night. There's no denying it. And your breathing hasn't returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything together that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice just keeps saying, what the fuck, on repeat. You know, I think that's probably the most sane and rational response possible here. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Kadir deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you will be cut down. Surely day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. I will take you under my wing. If you're lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight, and your deference to Kadir will work in your favor. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I will make sure you face the consequences. I don't want to die. Poor thing, you're already dead. Still, it's not as bad as it might feel. I can be a guide through this new reality. You take that chance, I'll perish. Steps and hushed voices can be heard from the side room. Seems the prince or counselor returning to the showroom. Kadir appears from downstairs as well. Starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a heart-melting smile towards Kadir, who doesn't smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit now complemented by a curved, oriental-looking metal scabbard, fastened with a colorful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous, but wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Kadir takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of the New York City Camarilla gathers here tonight. I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses you. I want you to know this was not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have not done anything to earn our ire. I do feel a genuine sorrow for what must be done. We are all keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There is no place for tolerating dissent when our very existence is under constant threat. Although I acknowledge some of my counsel's divergent opinions on this, she takes a look specifically at one of the people who left the room, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man whose skin has a somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in deference. I hold the final authority on this fledgling's fate, and I declare that while their embrace might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence is their progeny that must be punished. The sentence is final death, to be resolved presently. Kadir? You hear a scraping sound and see that the sheriff has unsheathed a curved sword. It's a beautifully detailed blade, which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 ounce, bottom of the 9th. His quiet mumble is audible to nobody but you. As his eyes meet yours, you note a hint of sadness in his countenance, when it quickly vanishes to give way to grim determination. And he's out to bat. He will not get another chance to speak up. Ask for mercy. You make your choice. I don't want to die. Spare me, please. Prince, if I may ask your sheriff's hand, stay the sheriff's hand just a while longer. Kadir looks at the prince, awaiting her response. The sword still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Miss Langley? Yes, if I may. At first, the prince looks somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but she stays quiet for a while, measuring the mood in the room. The bored elites suddenly look at you with aroused interest. Some of them just made it not seeing the bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes a few steps forward. All eyes are on her now, but Kadir's heavy hand on your shoulder makes it clear you won't take advantage of the distraction. My prince, while the traditions are clear, I believe that the proper context should be observed in addition to the letter of our laws. This fledgling is a burden, but with proper guidance, they could become an asset on our domain. Am I to understand you're volunteering to take this sireless child under your protection? Yes, I happen to think they hold the potential that would be unfortunate to waste. I do expect their full cooperation, of course. Whispers can be heard again, an incredulous voice or two. A hush, just behead the fucker. Some suppressed exclamations of surprise. Silence. I ask all of you to make a note of this moment. I might be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favor, but another will have to be enforced even more firmly in its stead. Until thy progeny shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Are you certain that's the responsibility you wish to shoulder, Miss Langley? I'm willing to guide this fledgling and add a valuable ally to our sect in a time of need, yes. But I would like to receive the right of destruction over them, if that pleases you. I'm gonna keep. I kind of want to keep my head, so I'm gonna keep playing along. I'm worth keeping alive, Prince. Give me a chance to prove myself. That remains to be seen. I do take notice of your tenacity. See that it doesn't become a burden. I shall grant what you ask. Let it be known, Sophie Langley of the Clan of the Rose will become this fledgling's patron. They shall be considered like sire and child. Miss Langley will take full responsibility for them, and I grant her the right of destruction if she sees fit to use it. Let my intentions be clear, however. If I am to turn a blind eye to one of our most important traditions on this occasion, I expect it to be beneficial to the Camarilla. Substantially so. I hope you all find this verdict satisfactory, Miss Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. She turns to you. What is your name, child? I'm a painter. I've used a moniker before. Would that suffice? You may use any name that is appropriate to be utilized in an official manner. My name is Lamar, then. She nods. Welcome to the Camarilla, Lamar. Now, this evening's proved to be even more eventful than I had expected. But with the fledgling's fate decided, I believe our meeting here can conclude. Thank you all for appearing on such short notice. Give my regards to those who couldn't make it. Kadir, a moment of your time before I let you return to your duties. Of course, Prince. He shoots you a side glance that doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched. You will be judged. And if need be, you will be punished. The two of them leave the gallery. Well, Lamar, I think we both managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. Let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to a fruitful new partnership. She raises her hand at one of the well-dressed concierges who's now reappeared in the room to refill guest glasses. The conventionally handsome man approaches with a carafe of red liquid. He pours in 2 tall glasses. It's blood again, that much is clear. You're of two minds about drinking it, but the memory of last night's hunger makes you wince. You take a tentative sip. You expected the same blandness you tasted a few hours ago, but this one you can actually savor. It's smoky and warm, making you think of a cozy cabin in the woods. It does strike you as a strange image to jump to your mind when drinking human blood, but it is what it is. You've never tasted anything like it. Do you like it? I think NYC caterers have a very bourgeoisie taste about what good blood should taste like. Apologies. You must have so many questions. While we're on the topic, perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. I feel this hunger constantly. How much do I have to drink to make it go away? The sad reality is it will never go away, no matter how much you drink. You will always be tempted to have more. Unless you consume someone wholly, to the last drop, paying for temporary relief with their life. That's a one-way road to losing your humanity. Best start by just taking a single sip from a vessel. Be prudent. Hot, fresh blood will be more satiating than anything they serve in fancy glass. That can make you more voracious. As to how much you should have, that depends. If you're frugal, you can survive many nights without a single drink. That's risky, tempt the beast. That's part of our curse. Tomorrow I'll take you hunting, and we'll explore this topic further. The blood you're having tonight should be enough to keep you happy for now. The prince mentioned something about you and me being like sire and child. What does that mean? Prince Panhard, spared you on the condition that I take responsibility for you. Normally, a sire and child are close. One begets the other, after all. Our relationship might not be exactly that of sire and child, but it's treated as such by our laws. That we do not share blood does not matter. You must therefore defer to me in all things. I don't wish to use the right of destruction the prince granted me, so I'll appreciate it if you don't give me a reason to. I promised I'd guide you, and I meant it. Treat me as your mentor and superior, and I will treat you as my loyal retainer and understudy. Me, you can go far. Without me, you'll be lost to the unfeeling night. We can't have that. Those of us unaccounted for can easily become a danger to the masquerade. That's the main reason why, with your sire gone, the prince wanted you out of the picture too. The concierge returns, asks for permission to intrude, which Sophie gives with a polite smile, and leans in to whisper in her ear. You note that the gallery is now almost empty. I'm being told the gallery is about to close, but we still have a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. The smile she puts on makes you remember last night's encounter in the showroom. A similar eagerness to spend time with this person overtakes you momentarily, and you follow her outside. Your sixth sense tells you that she's an artistic soul too, and you unwittingly start projecting good qualities onto her. Sophie leads you to a luxurious silver Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, middle-aged guy, starts driving immediately. Where do we leave off? I believe I started telling you a bit more about our customs. You've heard the prince refer to our traditions, the chief among them is the masquerade. As you might have gathered from this assembly in a niche gallery after closing time, our gatherings, comings, goings, and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle facts, so to the vast majority of the kind, we remain bedtime stories and pop culture icons. Say, is that one television show about a vampire angel still popular? You shake your head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a little more dejected than before. You know what? I deeply love the idea that Angel had a lot of Toreador fans. I don't know why. I find that immensely amusing and gratifying. Our clandestine ways help us remain safe, allow us to explain the occasional trip up to the rational minds of the 21st century, and dictate much of our interactions with mortals. There has to be some stuff in that the books or movies got right, or is it all just vampire propaganda? There's a kernel of truth in every myth. Those concerning kindred are no exception. There are mortals who sift through and manage to separate the facts, though it doesn't happen thanks to Hollywood. For one, sunlight burns us. That's why we rest during the day. You felt it. More like being dead than being dormant, isn't it? But we have no choice. We are night dwellers, but day sleepers. Some more folk-related threats are just legends, occasionally about a nuisance. Garlic, running water, even religious symbols don't repel us unless the wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Blith, I just pictured an enraptured toreador as you're a wee little puppet man emanates from their television. Yeah, that image will have me smiling for the rest of the night. Stakes through the heart, though, that's something to avoid. They don't destroy, but they do paralyze, which, under the right circumstances, can often be the same thing. And there's a reason you have somebody like my trusted driver, Gregory, making sure you're safe when you drift away. We have many enemies, and they often know their advantage lies with daylight. Am I right in thinking having a human friend or two is necessary then, or at least useful? In moderation, and best if they don't know your true nature. Also, I would say that subordinates are useful, but friends, I haven't had one of those in many years now. Our little sect supplies social interactions plenty, but it doesn't really encourage friendships. Alliance is a convenience to be broken at a whim. Yeah, that's more like it. Long-term solidarity does occur in the Camarilla, but we are a very politicized organization by necessity. Loyalty to your sire, to your prince, and to the sect. Friends must remain a distant priority at best for us to maintain the masquerade and thrive as the years pass. With age comes authority. With it comes influence and power if you wish to reach for them. She seems to be lost in thought and falls silent for a while, leaving you to ponder all the things you've learned tonight. Still feels absolutely unreal, but as piece after piece of knowledge falls into place, the image becomes almost like an entirely logical jigsaw puzzle. Whatever you wouldn't believe on your own, you've witnessed. Many questions swim through your thoughts, but the one you keep returning to is what your place in this new reality should be. The car stops. You're in the city, in front of an old but well-renovated apartment building. We're here. Would you like to see your lodgings? Is it another drab safe room in an underground parking lot for my safety and all that? Don't be ridiculous. You're not a Silas fledgling in Kadia's stone grasp anymore. And even he wouldn't hold you there any longer than necessary, I think. Come upstairs. She leads you through a small hall with a night guard who greets Miss Langley with a good evening, and you take the stairs up to the second floor. Sophie opens the door to room 209. Inside are all the amenities you could expect. From a modern apartment, and some you wouldn't have deemed necessary just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The back room has a comfortable looking bed and a thick steel door with several sturdy looking locks, but no windows. Well, how do you like it? That's not bad. I changed a few things. Switch a picture to maybe paint the walls a different color. I'm sure you would, but I'd appreciate if you could hold back the need to redecorate, or at least consult me before you do. The time for solo acts will come later. Right now, what we need is collaborations. Tomorrow, I'll take you hunting and discuss the blood in more detail. I'll let you get comfortable. The key is about the television set. I will come to pick you up tomorrow night. Use the back room for rest. You can lock the doors just in case. Stings a bit when she leaves. It's like the room suddenly became a few shades dimmer. You inspect the kitchen, hoping to find something to drink. Nothing, no regular food either. Feels strange that Kadir could be a more thoughtful host than your new sire, even if only in that respect. Briefly wonder if the sheriff might have a hidden side. With nothing left to do, you lie on the couch with the TV playing in the background for company. Columbo reruns, Kojak reruns. President of the United States got himself in serious trouble again. President of the United States got himself out of serious trouble again. Pundits yelling at each other over things that seemed a little bit less insignificant just 2 days ago. You start drifting off, reflecting about another night of confusing conversations and worldview shattering revelations. How many more before you fully understand what happened to you and what you're supposed to do now? You keep coming back to the life you left behind, the people you should contact, the things you want to pick up from your apartment. Wonder when you'll have the chance for either. And you start to feel the same tiredness that made you drift into a cold sleep last night. You settle in the back room. The bed's comforting, the lack of windows less so. You leave the light bulb on. Looking at it, you realize it's the closest you'll come to staring at the sun on a breezy summer day again. A wave of melancholy overwhelms you. A few minutes later, your consciousness fades. And you take the plunge in the darkness again. Sinking, 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 sinking. Alright. And folks, I think that's where we're going to call it for this evening. Thanks for being with me. We'll be back here again 8 Eastern tomorrow night for another chapter of our new Unlife in Coteries of New York. Just some reminders on the way out. If you look below the video here, there's a link to the Inferno Gaming Patreon. There's exclusive content and more on the way. The first post, the first bit of the new Birmingham Werewolf setting should be posted sometime tomorrow evening. I'm doing a quick edit and running some of it by sensitivity reader first. There's a link to our Discord server, and there is a tip down there, a tip jar that leads to our PayPal. If you want to tip your DM, it is not required, but it is highly, highly appreciated. It's like I said earlier, due to some paperwork fuckery that is too stupid to get into right now, we kind of had to make a double mortgage payment this month, and shit's a little tight. So, if you want to kick in, highly, highly appreciated. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining me tonight. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Until then, be safe, wear a mask. If you can get your shots, and good night.